Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today, well, it sucked. Of course talking about Redfall, that brand new game that got released yesterday for £70. Yes, £70. Now, if you want to see my true first impressions of Redfall, please go check out my live stream of it. Link in the video description. It's about two and a half hours long. There is a patch at the beginning of the video because, of course, we can't have a game now without a day one patch. So yes, there is about 15 minutes of me just waiting for the game to install this patch, which was about 90 gigabytes, and I think the initial pre-install was 90 gigabytes. So I don't know if the pre-install wasn't an actual pre-install or the patch wasn't an actual patch and it was just verifying the files. I don't know. Either way, it did not help. My god. So right off the bat, there isn't anything too much to complain about, except for the opening cinematic is mainly just stills. You'll quickly realize that all the cutscenes in this game are just stills with some camera movement. It is in a 3D environment, so the camera can move in a 3D space, but none of the characters in these cutscenes are animated. It's all just voiceover, and sometimes just no voiceover, and you're just expected to kind of figure out what's going on. For example, when you first take back the fire station, you complete the quest, and then all of a sudden, hey ho, stuff is happening. Like, people are moving stuff around. You have to go, oh yeah, okay, they're turning the fire station into a safe house, I guess. But yeah, you start off on a boat, you go around. The first time that you start the game, well, the first moments of gameplay are, there is an actual animated cutscene where two vampires are sucking this human for a while, and then one of them's like, oh, she wants to see you, and then she appears, and then that's it. That's like literally the only animated cutscene in this whole entire game. They're trying to do this really cool water effect where like the water has rised up, and it's okay, it's not too bad looking. Until I decided to go into settings and check out the video options. For some reason, the game is default to 4K, and I was like, okay, why is it my monitor is not 4K? It's barely 1920 by 1080, but okay. Let me just lower this resolution down, and then we got a bunch of artifacting. It was grainy. You can definitely see this in the stream. Again, links into the video description below for all this evidence. Yeah, so it turns out you either have to go back to 4K or restart the game. That's always good. Also, every time you go into a menu, there's a slight slowdown, like the frame rate drops. And then every time you leave a menu, go back into the main game, the frame rate drops. It is awful. Like, there's a few seconds where you're like, is this, am I good? Like, what's going on here? Like, okay, I'm fine. The game does the classic enemies with health bars, because that's always fun. I really appreciate that mechanic. Thanks game. Some enemies just feel like sponges, where they just take so much damage. The pistol is weird. Like, if you're close up to an enemy, it does decent damage, but if you're far away, it doesn't, even if you get a headshot. So headshots don't feel satisfying unless you've got a sniper. And the guns have rarities as well, because of course they do. So if you get a decent gun, which you do if you complete the tutorial mission, you don't have to complete the tutorial mission, by the way, but if you do, you get a good gun. There's also pop-up tutorials. I love pop-up tutorials. Not the kind of pop-up tutorials that just pop up and go, hey, let me explain this thing. The kind that pop up, take up half your screen, and you can't get rid of them. Well, it stops gameplay. It just stops. It's just like, here's this thing. We can't teach you during the game. We have to pause this. Even though they could probably do that, because one of the most annoying ones is, we're going to teach you how to fight a vampire. So, you know, this bit where you're like, oh, am I going to fight my first vampire? It's already spoiled for you. So you're basically looking for this vampire. And during the fight, the whole thing with vampires is you can't kill them with traditional weapons. You have to stake them. And so there's clearly a good point where the enemy is stunned, where the game could be like, the enemy is stunned, use your stake. There's the prompt, because every time you fight a vampire and they're able to be killed with a stake, guess what? The game just tells you the button. You can see a massive F button, and it's just like, do I really need a tutorial to interrupt gameplay just to be told the button prompt in the game? And also, that isn't the only way to kill vampires. Pretty later, well, not even pretty later on, pretty soon you'll just get a UV weapon that just like freezes the enemy, and then you just break the vampire. They're not even that, the game is not that difficult. The game is, oh my god. Yeah, gun combat doesn't feel great. As soon as you aim down sight, this is all on PC. As soon as you aim down sight, gun becomes really stiff. I do have a low DPI, so I guess it's okay, but it's just like, why is there such a jarring difference? Kind of like, why I zoom in suddenly, like, my gun is now super slow, but as soon as I'm zoomed out, my gun is like all over the place. Also, there were some issues with the sniper scope some people were experiencing. I didn't really have any issues, but again, people's field of views were playing up. Guns weren't doing enough damage. Like, one person was complaining their gun was at point blank range doing absolutely nothing to the enemy, so that's always good. Gameplay, continue on with gameplay, like, the map seems pretty small for $70. Definitely feels like they took the Halo Infinite approach and went, we don't have enough time to finish this game, so let's create a very small map. You've got your safe houses, you've got your raids that you just go in. It's really just like, you've all seen it before. It's just go in, hit some buttons, and kill some enemies, and you're done. Hit some buttons, kill some enemies, and you're done. It's not that intuitive. There isn't really anything special. Your characters have their own abilities. I had the Raven guy, and he could go invisible and summon a Raven. In multiplayer, there is no point of going invisible. But if you do go invisible, your enemy gets completely confused. We'll talk about enemy pathing in a moment, and AI, because holy, it's bad. But yeah, you can go invisible, the enemy's confused and will just stand still and doesn't even try and track you, and then you can just shoot them and they just stand still and they're like, okay, I guess they're here. Oh, it's just, I it's just, okay, let's talk about enemy AI. Sometimes they can see you really afar, and sometimes they have no idea what's going on and will just run past you even though you're shooting at them. It's really all hit and miss. Like, they sometimes they're just confused. Sometimes vampires will just stop attacking. To just straight up stop attacking. They'll just be like, I just don't want to fight anymore, I guess. That's good. That's the side of a good game. Yeah. Bosses are just essentially the same as regular vampires with more health. I don't know if I fought a boss. It just had more health bar, and I assumed it was a boss. Also, that, like, all over the place, there's like environmental damage. So every car you see, there's like an oil puddle that you can just burn, and it's just like, oh, it's very obvious I can burn this thing. It would have been nice if it was more like, if I hit this thing, then the oil pours out, and then I can burn it. You know, like, what was it, Dead Island 2? The game that recently came out with zombies in it, where you can pour gasoline and set your own path. No, in this game, they've already created the puddles for you to burn your friends like we did, or burn the enemies, and you can electrocute them, and most of the time you're just harming yourself. It's just, it's not worth the $70. Even if all the technical issues, because there are a load, like animations just stopped working. When I was in the firehouse, my two friends' animations just weren't working, so they were just like flying all over the place. That's good. Oh my god. This game is so bad. Just like every single time you come out of a menu, it just slows down. Also, if somebody wants to join your group, you have to start a new group. right? So if you're like, oh, another friend's come online. Okay, can you just join my game? No, you gotta back out. You have to go into your HUD. Then you need to go into settings, and then you need to click exit to main menu. That's a lot of extra steps. Why is it in settings that I have to go into main menu? And then you can host the game, and then you can invite your friends, and then you know, if one of them leaves, it's fine. But if somebody else comes in, you're gonna have to start a brand new lobby again. Why? Why? It's 2023. God damn. If you're looking for this kind of game, right? If you're looking for a kind of game where you and your buddies can team up and just go into this open world. Okay, my camera's frozen. Don't worry about it. If you're looking for the kind of game where you and your buddies just go in an open world, explore, do very similar missions again and again, but there's also some story missions that are pretty much the same as the regular missions you can do in the open world, just more of a narrative structure, then I can recommend Second Extinction. Replace vampires and cultists with dinosaurs, and that game has the decency not to show the health bars of dinosaurs. If the enemy is tougher, their health bar is indicated by the amount of damage they've done. And I think it's like 20 quid on Epic Games, and sometimes you can get it free on Epic Games, like I did, which I recommend. You will get bored of it after a while because it is just the same thing, but trust me, when Redfall is just as bad, if not worse, because they're asking for more money. Also, in Second Extinction, the areas have like difficulty ratings, and they can change each day. Even though, in my experience, they don't really do much. Like a really low area that's like low threat feels the same as an area with a high threat. But hey ho, what do I know? And extracting from there is fun because you've got a load of enemies trying to kill you, whereas extracting in Redfall is just opening up your map. Oh yeah, did I mention the texture loading? I probably didn't mention the texture loading. Let me mention the texture loading. Oh my god, the texture loading is bad, guys. It is awful. Every 5 seconds, textures loading in, and sometimes textures loading out, then loading back in. Honestly, this game is a technical mess. I know Captain Oates, a friend of mine. If you go watch his video on Redfall, it runs smooth. Like, it's night and day to what I experienced. So I don't know if he had somehow the same configuration PC as the QA testers, or probably tester, given how bad this game is. So, you know, play on console, you might get a smoother experience. I think he said if it was an i3 or an i5 he had. Let me just bring it up real quick. Yeah, had an i5 and a RTX 3070. So if you have that combination, your game might actually run rather smooth and not have the issues that everyone else experienced. Yeah, don't pay £70 for this game. It's free on PC Game Pass, but I only played 2.5 hours, and that was just so the stream was a little bit longer, and I could make a longer video out of it. But yeah, I do not recommend Redfall. Even with all the technical issues, the game is just kind of mediocre. If it was like a $30 game, you'll probably be like, oh, okay. $20 game, I'd be like, yeah, I can see me playing this over a Second Extinction. Again, without all the technical flaws, Second Extinction does have some issues. Like, there is a game bug where you can't complete a mission if you're too quick, and we're too quick. But overall, like, there is hardly any of... it's not like I go into a menu in Second Extinction, and then as soon as I come out of the menu, the frame rate fucking dies. So yeah, if you're looking for a game like that, I can recommend Second Extinction. Much better than Redfall. Unfortunately, vampire lovers, this is not the game for you. Maybe they'll patch it, and then maybe they'll massively lower the price, and then it becomes kind of worth it, but at its state, it's not great. we went through this vampire nest, and I guess it was like a mini dungeon, and at the end, the thing we had to do was just hit E 5 times. And that was it. Yeah, it was kind of boring. Also, for some reason, when you go into like specialized areas, everybody player needs to ready up, and then the ready up is just all over the place. Like I was readied up, but then I wasn't readied up, and then someone else was readied up, and they weren't readied up. I don't know how this game works. I'm not sure how this game functions, but whoa, it's not good. Yeah, just don't get it. And if you want that kind of game, second extension. I don't know why I'm promoting second extension so much. It's the only game I can kind of think that's super similar, except for second extension has dinosaurs and less technical bugs. So thanks for watching. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave a dislike. Comment below your experience with Redfall, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
Morse. Marvelous. Together on the track. Let's go. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus.